Hello, welcome to Analog Output. I thought I'd do something a little different this time. I'm going to take a look at getting Gerber files for making circuit boards and front panels from online and submitting those to be made. So if you know of a project online that you would like to build, you can follow this procedure or something like it and get it done. This is not, the way to do it. I'm sure other people will make some different choices along the way than the choices I've made, but I'll show you kind of the approach that I would take. So I'm looking here at the Cosmic Super Spreader by Synosys. Hi Synosys, if you're watching, surprise. This is a Cosmo format module. It takes a CV input and a spread input, and it adds to the CV input, and it subtracts from the CV input and makes three outputs that are spread from each other. So anyway, so it looks pretty cool. Let's suppose I wanted to build this. So we're here on github.com, Synosys Cosmic Super Spreader, and what you're going to need to make this module is the Gerber files. What are Gerber files? Let's take a look here under PCB. We've got a folder called Gerber, and in that we've got a bunch of files with names like Cosmic Super Spreader B, CU, GBR, and B Mask GBR, and B Silk S GBR, and so forth. And these different files all describe the different layers of a circuit board. So this describes the back copper layer. This describes the solder mask on the back layer. This describes the silkscreen printing on the back layer. This describes the board, the shape of the board itself. This describes the copper and the solder mask and the silkscreen on the front layer. And these are actually not even Gerber files. These are drill files. They describe the holes that need to be drilled in the board, but they're not technically Gerber files, but they often get or usually get included in with the Gerber files. Anyway, these are the files that you need, and rather than trying to grab these files one at a time, especially since you probably might want to take a look at some other files from this repository, like up here we've got a docs folder that contains a schematic diagram of the module and stuff like that. So we're just going to grab this whole repository. And to do that, we're going to go over here to the code and click that. And at the bottom, we could clone the repository and use it with the Git version control system. If you're using Git and familiar with Git, you might want to do that, but let's just suppose we just want to do the things the simplest way. So we're just going to take this option here, download zip. Clicking on it again. There we go. GitHub wants to download multiple files. We're going to allow that. And it wants to put this in my downloads folder. That's a perfectly good place for me to put it. So, all right. So now we have downloaded the repository. And if I go over here to my downloads folder, we've got our zip file here, and I'm using the Cinnamon window manager on Linux Mint. If you're used to Windows or Mac, things might look a little unfamiliar, but the basic ideas are all the same. So we're going to use the contextual menu here to extract these files. And we've got our folder here. I'm assuming you know how to zip and unzip files on your computer. You can Google it if you don't. So now we got we got the docs folder, and we got the panel folder, and the PCB folder, and so forth and so on. The README in Markdown format, that's just this stuff here, and so forth. And so you've read the README, and you've looked at the schematic, and you've looked at the build notes, and so forth and so on, and you've said, yeah, I want to do this. I want to make this thing. And so you go over here and say PCB. And here we've got the Gerber files, which we talked about before. And you're going to need all of these Gerber files, or most of them at least, to be uploaded to a circuit board fabricator someplace. But they're not going to want the individual files. They're going to want a zip archive of all of these files, which is fortunately provided here, gerber.zip. If you have just the Gerber files and you don't have the zip file, well, again, I assume you know how to make a zip archive. In my case, it's just contextual menu and compress, and it would make a zip archive like that. So now we just need to take this zip archive and upload it someplace. Where are we going to upload it? Well, you have lots of options. And let me show you a site called PCB Shopper. This is a place where you can comparison shop for making circuit boards. You put in a description of the circuit boards you want, and it tells you what it would cost at various places. So let's say, okay, I'm going to put in, let's just say I want to price a 10 centimeter by, let's say 15 centimeter circuit board, 2 layers, typical, minimum quantity. Let's just say 3, and solder mask color. Let's assume we don't care, so we'll take the least expensive color. Silk screen, we're going to assume we want silk screen on both sides of the thing. We're going to use the cheapest finish. We're going to use the 1.6 millimeter board thickness. That's usual. Copper weight 1 ounce. That's usual. This stuff here, who even knows? We don't need a stencil. We don't need quality certifications. Don't need a different number of designs. We're going to ship this to the United States. Boards arrive in, let's actually specify boards are going to arrive in 14 business days, just for an example. Get prices, and it starts telling you prices of these things. We've got a progress bar here. Wait until it gets up to 100. Okay, fine. And then we've got a listing. We're saying the cheapest one here is all PCB. After that is JLC PCB, and then we have these other ones. These guys are in China. These guys are in the United States. I think they're actually corporate headquarters in Europe, but they've got a United States facility, I think. More places from China, India, basic PCB in the United States, advanced circuits in the United States, OSH Park, and then we got Belgium and Australia and South Korea and so forth. And you can see there's a wide range of prices here. So, for just the circuit boards themselves, probably the cheapest one is JLC PCB. The minimum order there is 5. We asked for 3, but the minimum is 5 at most of these places. And that'll cost $10.30. And then there's shipping, and they've got various shipping options here. And apparently all PCB has a slightly cheaper shipping option with a slightly higher production cost. So the total price ends up to be the lowest there. And, so these are $27.46 and $30.37, and then they go up from there. $128, $129, $284.77. There's a big range of prices. The other thing you notice is that there's star reviews here, and you can read or write reviews for each of these places, and it's a good idea to take a look at the reviews from these places, because you see, for instance, some of them are like 2 and a fraction stars here, 3 stars. The lowest price one here is 3 stars, and the second lowest price is 4 stars, and the fourth lowest price is 4.5 stars. So take a look at the reviews. Now, this whole thing isn't foolproof. They don't always actually show you the cheapest option, or sometimes they have prices that are not quite the same as the prices you get when you actually go to the websites, but it'll give you an idea of what's going on. I'm going to go ahead with JLC PCB. It's usually about the cheapest, or one of the cheapest options we've got. They are located in China, and if you don't have an account at JLC PCB, you would hit the new customer start here place, and there we go. And it's a standard create your account, enter your username, email, password, click the I'm not a robot thing, and create yourself an account. I have an account, so I'm not going to bother with that. So I will sign in. And I'm now signed in, and I'm going to click on the order now. Okay, and this is where we're placing our order. And it says they want a Gerber file. Actually, what they want is a zip archive of Gerber files. So I'm going to go over here to our PCB file and just drag gerber.zip over to here, and it uploads that thing. And here's a picture of the circuit boards. Now, if you want to take a closer look at these circuit boards, there's this Gerber viewer, which you can click here. Yeah, okay. So here we are. It's showing us this board. We can zoom in on it. We can say, okay, that's the top of the board. I want to look at the bottom of the board. Here's the bottom. We can turn on and off the solder mask. Just look at the copper. We can get rid of the silk screen, and so forth, and just examine this and see if it makes sense. It doesn't always make sense. There are sometimes what it will show you here has some weirdness to it that doesn't actually reflect in the actual production. For instance, if you've got like a square hole cut in a board, I've seen it come up looking kind of strange, but I've gone ahead and ordered it, and they got a square hole in the board, and it's fine. So you can examine the Gerbers with that, and once you're satisfied that, yeah, this is probably going to work all right, you can go ahead with our options. Most of these options here you can just leave at defaults. The base material, you want FR4. Number of layers, you want 2. This is the dimensions of the board, 95 by 30. This is the quantity you're ordering. 5 is the minimum, and 5 is the increment, so you can get 5, you can get 10, you can get 15, you can't get 7, and you can't get 1. Different design, you leave that at 1. Delivery format, leave that at single PCB. PCB thickness, leave that at 1.6. PCB color, this is actually the color of the solder mask, and they tell you if you go to select one of the others, it will take 2 days more than the green solder mask. They say the green is the fastest turnaround. I think when they say 2 days more, I think really it's more like up to 2 days more, and I think usually it's not that slow. But, if you really want to get it fast, or faster, you go with green. Whereas if you want something interesting looking, you go with purple, or something else. Let's go with purple. I like purple. The silk screen is white, And if you select green, the silk screen is white. And if you select any other color, the silk screen is white, unless you select white, and then the silk screen is black. You don't get a choice of silk screen color. If you want to choose separately PCB, silk, the solder mask color and the silk screen color, you need to go to some place other than JLC PCB. Some places do offer you more choices than they do. But here, it's whatever silk screen color you want, as long as it's white, unless the solder mask is white, in which case it's black. Surface finish, you can select the cheapest one, Hazel with lead. You can select a lead-free one. You can select Enig. This one will be a little bit more expensive than that one, and Enig will be a lot more expensive than that one. I'm just going to leave it at the cheapest one for our purposes. You can select whichever one you want. These other things, we're not going to change anything. So really the only things I have to concern myself with are really the surface finish, PCB color, quantity, and that's about it. And over here on the side we can see the price is $2. This is not $2 per board. This is $2 for 5 circuit boards. Okay, if you have a circuit board that is less than 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, most of these places will charge you a special low price for circuit boards that are under 10 by 10 centimeters. In the case of JLC PCB, they'll charge you $4, except that the first such small board in your order, they'll charge you $2. So this is really quite cheap. And this is with all these standard options. If I go ahead and choose Enig, then it's going to cost me $17.40 for the surface finish, in addition to the $2 for everything else. So, and if I choose quantity 10 instead of 5, it goes up to $5. If I choose quantity 15, then at this point they start using their standard pricing structure, where they've got a so-called engineering fee of $4, and then they've got a price which is proportional to the area of the circuit board. We're going to go with 5. Quantity 5, and I'm going to save that to my cart. Okay, and that's my circuit board ordered, but I'm going to want a front panel too. And if we go over and look at our repository here, we not only have the PCB folder, we have the panel folder with the Gerber files, with the zip file, and if I upload that over here, this is for the front panel, which is made just like a printed circuit board, even though it's not a circuit. But it looks like this. We can look at it in the Gerber viewer if you want to. And there's our front panel. There's the back of it. Okay. So let's go ahead and order this. You notice it's kept the options from before. I ordered a purple board before, so it brings this up, assuming that I want this to be purple as well. Okay. We're going to leave this at FR4 and 2 layers and so forth. Here the dimensions are 200 by 50, and so you expect this is going to be pricier, and it is. It's $4 engineering fee, $4.20 for the boards, total $8.20 for 5 front panels. And again, we're not going to need to change much of anything. We're going to make this, let's make this black. Okay. So we'll have a black front panel with white lettering, and one thing I'm going to change here is the flying probe test. Is the electrical check to check whether there are short circuits or open circuits in your PCB or not, blah, 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 blah. This is not actually a circuit board. It doesn't have a circuit on it, so if they try to do some sort of a test on it, it might not pass. So I'm going to tell them not to bother with testing. Okay. just to drive that home, I'm going to open up this box here for leave a remark if you have any request, and I will say this is a face plate. There is no circuit. Ignore electrical errors. Just in case anybody at the fabrication place is a little confused as to what's going on. The other thing is, when you get one of these things done, they want to put an order number on the board, and they will choose someplace on the board to put their order number, which is, maybe okay for a circuit board. For a front panel, odds are pretty good that they'll decide to slap an order number right on the front of the front panel, and you don't want some order number on the front of your front panel. So you've got a couple of options. One is you can remove the order number, which will add $1.70 to the price, or you can specify a location, which is free. There's no charge for specifying a location. This is telling them, okay, you can put an order number there, but put it where I tell you to put it. And where did I tell you to put it? Well, if you look at the Gerber viewer, if you look at the back, there's this place where in the design on the silk screen is JLC, 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 JLC. And for this particular fabrication place, if you've got that in your silk screen someplace and you check this option here, specify location, then that is where they're going to put your order number. Okay, doesn't cost anything. You just have to make sure there is a JLC, 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 and you can specify that and keep the order number off the front of the faceplate. All right, save that to cart, and now we've got our PCB and our front panel. And from there on, it's pretty much standard e-commerce. We're going to go over here to our cart. So we've got our cart here, we've got our panel, we've got our circuit board. We got a total price of $10.20, and we can go ahead with checkout. And they want shipping address, and continue, and they want a shipping method, and we've got various shipping methods which cost various amounts. DHL Express Worldwide is $20.13. DHL Express Economy, slightly less. In this case, such a small difference that you might as well go for the 3 to 7 days instead of the 5 to 8. Or this one is about the same price. This one, roughly the same price. This one's significantly cheaper, 6 to 16 business days though, and then this one is the cheapest of all at $8.43, 12 to 25 business days. It would be a good long wait for that, but you save a few dollars, if that matters to you. I choose one of these and hit continue, and then they say you have two options. You can pay right now, in which case they will go ahead with production as soon as they've finished reviewing your files, or you can let them do the review and then tell you, okay, it's past review, go ahead and make your payment, and then it will go into production after you've made your payment. They recommend you pay immediately, of course. Anyway, you click the continue button, and then you give them your payment information, and it's in their lap. And in 3 to 7 business days after they finish fabrication, and fabrication is going to take a few days, then, you've got your circuit boards in hand. So, hope that was fairly clear and informative, and now you know how you can go online, go to GitHub, get yourself some Gerber files for a module that you want to make and a front panel, and upload them to a fabricator and get them made for you. If you like this thing, do the usual, like, subscribe. Stay tuned until next time. See you then on Analog Output.